Hello and welcome to the Focus Switch workshop. Wherever you are right now, if you're holding a phone, put it on a stand or prop it against something. If you're on a laptop, settle in, get a notebook, get a pen, because what I'm about to share with you is the kind of thing that you're going to want to write down. I'm so excited for you for getting access to this program, and I'm going to share with you something that really changed the way that you approach your child's focus and help your child do excellent in school. Now, before we go any further, I want to tell you exactly what you're going to walk away with from this training, because I don't want you sitting here, wondering where this is going. And so here's the promise that I'm making to you. If you stay with me for the next few minutes, if you don't leave this page, if you don't go scroll Instagram, if you don't get up to do something else halfway through, by the time we finish, you're going to walk away with something that you've been searching for years. Because you're going to finally understand why your child has been struggling to focus, the one thing that nobody has actually told you, and you will see the actual things that you can start doing this week to improve your child's focus and learning desire. Okay, now let's talk about who this training is for. This training is for a specific kind of parent, so let me try to describe you. Okay, now it's for you if you're the parent who knows that the moment they say the word homework, the whole house is about to change. This training is for the parent who has tried everything. You sat with them at the table, you've shouted, you've bribed, you've taken away the phone, even the TV, just so they can focus. This training is for the parent who has paid lesson teachers sometimes for years, 30,000 a month, 40,000 a month, 50,000 a month, subject by subject, term after term after term, only for them to complain about the same issue. And now you're starting to wonder if anything actually works. This training is for the parent who looks at their child sometimes and thinks, I know you can do better than this, because you've seen them get excited about something they are interested in. You've seen them focus for hours when it's a game or a movie or something they actually want to do. So you know the focus is there. You know the intelligence is there. You just cannot figure out why it disappears the moment they sit down with a book. And so this is for you if you started to feel a quiet worry that maybe your child will make it academically if nothing changes fast, because these habits you are seeing, the laziness, they don't disappear by themselves. They follow your child into secondary school, into university, into their career. And you're not just worried about their report card, you're worried about who they are becoming. And so if anything I've said in the last few minutes describes your current situation right now, then welcome, because this is your last bus stop. Now, let me introduce myself properly. Who am I and why should you even listen to me? If you are meeting me for the first time, my name is Chris Obike. I'm the founder of Tensai Kids. At Tensai, we're a child development institute, and what that means is that we're obsessed with one thing, which is helping parents understand their children and helping children learn the way they were actually built to learn. And so at Tensai, we believe that every child can learn, every single one. There is no such thing as a child who cannot learn. There are only children whose method has not yet been found. And so sometime last year, we started offering assessments for children at Tensai. You probably had seen that, before you even left after you paid. So we assess the child properly. We look at their academic performance. We look at their behavior. We look at their environment. Look at their patterns. And as we did more and more of these assessments, we started seeing something that we couldn't unsee. Okay? And child after child after child, brilliant children with high IQ, children whose teachers would say, oh, this one is sharp. But these same children were sitting at home, failing to study, refusing to read, scoring far below what they were capable of, and doing poorly in school. And that's because they had what we call a learning barrier. Now, listen very carefully, because this is very important. There are two categories of problems, of academic problems. And this is a lot of misinformation. So I'm going to try to break some barriers right now. The first one is called a learning deficit, and the second one is called a learning barrier. Let me explain the difference. The learning deficit is when your child cannot perform a specific academic task. Let's say, for example, your child cannot multiply, cannot read certain words, cannot spell, cannot follow long division. They struggle with comprehension. A learning deficit is an academic skill gap, and all you need to do is just to find the right teacher, the right method, and the child catches up. But if a learning deficit, was the only thing that your child was dealing with, you would have solved this by now. So it's easier to solve. It's just about finding let's say your child is struggling with, all those things. It's easy for a teacher to come in, a teacher that knows what they are doing, to actually come in and help them. And meanwhile, we figured out a lot of the problem is that these teachers don't know how to get access to these kids. They don't know how to actually communicate with them. And that's why they're not getting the kind of results that your child deserves or that you want for your child. Right? But truthfully, if you find a good teacher who can do that, boom, they'll solve these problems for you. But they can't solve this learning barrier problem, because that's the real one. That's the deadly one. So this is a learning barrier when your child has no interest in studying. They don't want to read. They lack focus. They get distracted in 5 minutes. They refuse to sit down at the table. They fight you every evening and they cry when it's time to read. This is the deadly one. This is the one that nobody has figured out how to solve. Because you've probably tried hiring teachers and your child still won't sit. You can buy the most beautiful textbooks and your child still will not open them. You can shout, you can beat, you can beg, you can bribe. None of it works because the child does not have an academic problem. The child has a barrier. And lesson teachers don't fix learning barriers. They were never designed to. Right? And this is what I want you to hear. Because you've been trying to solve a learning barrier with learning deficit solutions. You've been throwing money on tutors when what your child needs is not more instruction. You've been signing them up for extra classes. When the real problem is that they don't want to do the classes that you have already paid for. And so that's why nothing is working. That's because you've been fighting the wrong battle. So once I saw this clearly, I knew what we had to do. We had to figure out how to solve learning barriers because nobody else was doing this. And it was killing me to watch family after family pour money into lessons and lessons while their child continued to struggle with the same thing. So we built a system specifically designed to dissolve learning barriers, which was a complete framework for transforming your child's relationship with studying from the ground up. And then we started offering this solution to parents one-on-one through our expert consultants who had been trained to deliver the system, right? And, it worked with so many people. It worked a lot. Both parents who had children who with autism or children who had ADHD, it still worked because the principles were the same. All that changed is the way that you implement it because obviously no two children are the same. A child on the spectrum needs the same thing that a normal child has. It's just the way that you apply it is different. And even for parents who are children in boarding school, maybe you do, it still works because all you need to do is just to learn the system and then build it during the holidays so it's locked in. Or if you even have access to the teachers, you can talk to the teachers about it and then they do that, right? And maybe we worked with a couple of parents who had children who were younger, maybe 3 years old, all those kind of ages. And they were wondering, is it too early? And honestly, I think those people are the smartest because what we're doing is that they were learning the system so that they never even have that problem in the first place. It's the perfect time, right? And so, how long after we started working with these children, the results started coming. Children who used to refuse books were now sitting down to study on their own. Children with 5-minute attention spans were now reading for 30 minutes, for 45 minutes, for 1 hour. And parents who used to shout every evening were now sitting in their living rooms in peace while their child did homework on their own, right? But, due to the level of work and expertise required to work personally with these families, the cost was high. And what kept happening was a couple of times, we'll reach out, the parents will reach out or they'll tell us the challenge, but when it was time for them to actually, for us to help them, they couldn't afford the fee. And I understand it, right? Because to work with us privately, the rate is 300,000 naira for 1 month of coaching. And there is a long list. And so I get it, we're in Nigeria, even in Africa, the economy is terrible, the bills are high, and so the purchasing power has drastically reduced. But personally, it pained me because I didn't start Tensai for money. We started to actually help thousands of parents raise genius kids. And so what's the point if we created a solution that a lot of people couldn't access? And so I decided, I thought, how do we make this system accessible to more parents? And that is what brought us to this training because I decided, I'm going to share this system with you. And then I'm also going to show you real proof of people who work with so you can see what is possible. And you can understand that by just deploying this right system, you can do it yourself. You can get the results yourself. However, if you don't want us to help you, that's a separate case altogether. All right. So I'm going to go first right now and show you exactly how to do this, deploy this system for yourself. Now, like I said, for the last 30 or so years, every parent in this country has been told the same lie, which is if your child is struggling, the child is the problem, fix the child. But what I've seen, as a child psychologist, and also in all my experience of doing this, is that there is one singular attribute that determines the success of your child, and it's the environment around the child. When I mean the environment, I mean the home, I mean the parents, I mean the structure that the parents set, right? And the adherence to that structure. Let me tell you something. Your child is just a seed. If you take a seed and put it in a good soil, that seed will grow into a big tree. Or if you put it on a bad soil, they'll probably have stunted growth or they will die off. So it's the environment that shapes your child. It's the environment that shapes who they become. And this is also very true as regards the academics. So fix the environment and by default your child does too. So we're going to talk about what its environment is, right? I need you to come on this journey with me right? Because every single home where a child studies on their own, where studying happens without a fight, where the parent does not have to shout, beg, or bribe, every one of those environments, they all have three things in place. And without this structure, without this secret, nothing, absolutely nothing changes. And so I'm going to show you all three. Okay? The first one is the place. This is the first secret, which is how to make your child's brain to associate one specific spot in your home so that they shift into focus mode automatically. And then the second secret is a rewiring that gets your child to prepare to study without you saying a word, literally. And then the third is what we call the motivation switch that turns studying into something that your child does by themselves, not because you force them. Okay? So let's get started. So the first question I'm going to ask is, where does your child study right now? Think about it. If you're honest, the answer is probably something like this. Sometimes with the dining table, sometimes the bedroom, sometimes wherever there is space. Is that correct? But what you probably don't understand is that the place where it happens, the place where your child studies is doing one of two things to them. It's either pulling them into focus or it's pulling them out of focus. There is no in between. So let me explain. Your child's brain, they work on association the same way your brain does, the same way every human brain does. And so when you walk into your kitchen, what does your brain start thinking about? Food, cooking, hunger. Why? Because every time you've ever walked into that kitchen, food has always been the activity. Your brain has linked the room to the activity. And when you walk into your bedroom, what does your brain think about? Sleep, rest. Why? The same reason. Because years of association have linked the room to the activity. I'm currently recording this in my office right now. I probably would not be able to say all this if I was seated on my couch or lying on my bed. Why? Because I'm able to do this here. My brain is able to remember all this and tell you and teach you this because it has already associated this office with a place where we do psychic work, with a place where we talk about things that help children. And so when I'm in here, it kind of creates that environment for me to be that person. Do you understand what I'm saying? And so that's also how your child's brain works. If they study in the same place where they watch TV, their brain is confused. If they study in the bedroom where they sleep and play, the brain is confused. And if they study at the dining table where they eat and laugh with the family, their brain is also confused. Every one of these places is fighting against focus because their brain has linked those places to other activities. So when you sit them down there and you tell them to focus, their brain is doing two things at once. It's trying to focus and it's also trying to do whatever it has been trained to do in that space. And that is why sometimes you want to teach your child or you bring your child to study and then boom, your child gets sleepy, right? The same child who has been bubbling before, the moment boom, it's time to read, they start trying to fall asleep. It's not laziness, it's association. It's association. So the place where they do that, the moment they sit down with the book, the brain does what it's trained to do. It powers down. And so if you change the spot, and most of the time, that sleepiness disappears on its own. So you're not fighting a tired child, you're fighting an environment that is confused. And so the secret is for your child to have one spot in your house where the only thing that ever happens there is studying. However, and within 2 to 3 weeks of consistent usage, your child's brain starts to associate that exact spot with focus. They walk to that spot, and before they even sit down, their brain has already started shifting gears. Why? Because it associated that place with the activity, and so it's a pattern. But here's the thing, okay? Setting this place up is not as simple as, just pick a corner. Or let me build it. I talk to a lot of parents and they'll tell you, let me go and build the place. Let's go and create, let's go and buy this. No, it's not that simple. There's a lot of thought that goes into it. There's a lot of things you need to consider. Like your child's learning style, like the proximity to noise, design, all the components that make it distraction-free for your child. So it's actually very intentional. Just like the way you select the kind of couch you should put in your sitting room. Okay, and so when we work with the family for the one-on-one, the first thing that we do is this place. We do it properly because if you get this one thing wrong, the rest of the system obviously cannot work. And so let me tell you about the family that we worked with last year. Her son, Kefas, 4-year-old boy. So when this mom, Nima, she reached out to us, her son was screaming and crying every time she shared the word study. She was forcing him to sit at the dining table for an hour, and half of that hour was him crying. The rest was him being forced to write things he didn't want to write. She had bought online courses, she had punished him, she had done everything. And so when we started working together, we built this proper study space at home. Listen to what happened after we did that. Let me show you what she says.
I contributed to it. Out of anger, I'll just spank him. and so he doesn't want to learn. When it's time for him to study, either he starts screaming, shouting, crying, I want to pee pee, I want to, he will just start giving excuses. And now if I tell him it's time to learn, he's always excited about it. He comes and then and he engages. He stays focused for let's say 30 minutes. Okay, I would say structure, and that has helped me also in other aspects of my son's even me myself as a parent. I know, right?
Did you catch what she said? She said structure has helped me also in other aspects of my son, even me myself as a parent. Even me myself as a parent. So right now, you probably realize something. You need a proper study zone. And that's the first thing, the spot in your house where focus actually happens. Because when you set up the right place for your child to study, it doesn't just change them, it changes you. Because for the first time, you stop fighting your child to focus. The environment now does the work that you have been trying to do. All right. And so let's talk about the secret, and would you like me, what if I could show you exactly how to set that up, just like you showed Mrs. Neyman? Would you like that? Would you like that? If yes, then come with me. Let's move to the second secret, which, like I said, is the 2-week rewiring that gets your child to study without you saying a word. Okay? Let's get into it. Now, do you have an exact time when your child is supposed to study? Do you have that? If you're like most parents, the answer, they do, but it's not set on stone. It depends on the day. Sometimes it's 5 p.m., sometimes it's 7, sometimes it's 8 o'clock if there's traffic. Sometimes it doesn't happen because life comes into the way. But what you don't realize is that the way your child's brain works is that it is constantly trying to predict what is coming next. It's constantly trying to predict what is coming next. Every minute of every day, your child's brain is running calculation. It's running calculation, right? It's running calculation. And so when you have a predictable schedule, what it does is that your child's brain can prepare in advance. I went to the seminary. There's a reason why parents send their school to military schools and seminary schools. Maybe they want their children to become army officers, maybe. But most people actually send them because of the order. Order. Everything is in advance. Everything is earmarked. You know what happens at every single time. Every single time. And the time does not shake. Right? So if you create a study time where maybe studies happen by 4 p.m. or by 4:30, when it's 4 o'clock, the brain already starts to remember and shift gears that, 4:30 is the time. By 4:15, the brain is preparing for focus. And by 4:30, the moment the child sits down, they are mentally ready because they already knew what's coming. Their brain is doing it for them, and they are not the ones pushing this. And so maybe you are thinking, my children only get back from school by 5 o'clock every day. How do I even fit within time into that? So it's very simple. It's very simple because the truth is, I see a lot of parents also make the mistake of overscheduling. So you want your child to study for 2 hours after they are back from school, spending 7 hours in school. That doesn't work, right? It's about like finding a time that is consistent. Finding a time that you can keep consistent. As simple as 20 to 30 minutes a day is perfect because what matters is the consistency, not the intensity, right? So let's say they are home by 5 o'clock, they eat, they rest a little, and they settle. So let's say you set study time for 6:30. Same time every day, non-negotiable. What matters is that 6:30 never moves because you know that it's a sure banker that time works. After about 2 weeks, you're going to watch what happens if you stay consistent with this, because by 6:15, your child's brain already knows what is coming. They start winding down on their own. You will not be the one dragging them. So the time doesn't matter. What matters is that it is consistent, same time every day. Okay? Right? But when your schedule is random, none of that preparation happens. The brain has no idea what is coming, so it cannot prepare. It cannot shift gears in advance. So when you look at the child and he's sitting down somewhere, you just say, go and study. The brain has to do everything from a cold start. And that is what creates that resistance, that I don't want to, that push that your child has. Because cold starts are painful. That's why they resist. They're not being lazy. Their brain has not prepared. Right? So, but imagine the opposite. Imagine a child who has a specific study time every single day. And after 2 to 3 weeks of that, something happens. Because your child starts preparing for study time without you saying anything. They start moving toward their study spot on their own. Because their brain has finally learned the rhythm. And once a brain learns a rhythm, it runs automatically. And if you are busy, you're a busy mom or dad watching this right now, You are thinking, I'm not home all day. I can't be there to supervise every study session. That's why this is even for you, because structure matters more for you. Structure is not about you monitoring and observing a child every day. It's about building an environment that runs on its own, so it does not even depend on you being there. Because once the place and time are locked in, the system is the thing now carrying the weight. So whether you are there or not, it happens. That's the whole point. And so we are building something that works whether you are home or not. That's the most important thing. Okay, let me tell you about another mom. Her son Johnson is 8 years old, bright child. He was very smart, but he didn't like to study. This for you. A lot of parents, they come to us and their children are smart, but they don't like to read. So when this mom Eniola came to us, her son could not focus for more than 5 minutes at a stretch. She had been paying for home lessons for years, and nothing was changing. She had tried everything, shouting, bribing, sitting with him. Everything. So when we started working together, we created a specific study time. Same time every day, no exceptions. And after a few weeks, look at what she says. Let me show you what she says.
Last night now, I was reading a book and he said, Mommy, I will appreciate if you can read it aloud. Let me listen. And even when you tell him to go and read, where that book is already playing. And he will just come in less than 5-10 minutes. Mommy, I'm done reading. He said he barely concentrate for 5 minutes. He's already distracted. Always want to stand up, always want to rush off. Now, basically, he could, at a stretch, maybe read a storybook for like 45 minutes. You don't have to shout again. If once I just mention it, he just knows what to do. Then, Mommy, I will appreciate if you can read it aloud. Let me listen.
Did you hear that line at the end? He said her son asked her to read to him. This is a boy who used to fight her every study time. A boy who had been avoiding books for years. He now sits at night and says, Mommy, please read to me. And so that's not magic. That's what happens when the reading locks in. And listen to this. She said it started happening within 1 week. 1 week. Like I always say, the wrong methods are slow. The wrong methods are say, hire a teacher, wait 6 months, hope for change. That is slow. The right system, it works fast because you're not teaching the child anything new. You are changing the environment, and the brain responds to the environment immediately. But here's the catch. Most parents who try to set up a fixed study zone or a fixed study time, they fail themselves. And that's because you need to set up something that actually survives the real chaos of a Nigerian household. There are some things that need to be in place, okay? So if you would like me to show you exactly how to do that, just like you showed Mrs. Eniola, so that you can help how we did it for her, then make sure you stay to the end of this training because you're going to get your opportunity. Now let's go over to the third secret. And honestly, this one might be the most important of all three. Okay? The third secret is what we call the motivation switch. This is the one secret that turns studying into something your child wants to do. Now, for most parents, in order for you to get your child to study on their own, you will have to do one of three things. You either have to force them, you either have to threaten them, or bribe them. But none of these things create a child who wants to study. And I know that some of you are sitting here right now thinking, oh, Chris, the only thing my child responds to is cane. And even bribes have stopped working. I want you to hear this. The fact that the cane is the only thing that gets a reaction is not a sign that your child is stubborn. It's a sign that every other method has failed, and so you have been pushed to the very last result. It's also a sign that the current conditions have trained your child to only respond to that force. And it shouldn't be so. It shouldn't be so. And the worst part about all this is that all this, the cane, the shouting, it only buys you one session. And even that one session is not even one session because the child is not paying attention. The child doesn't want to be there. The child is angry. The environment is not fun. So there's no motivation for the child. Right? So it doesn't work. By tomorrow, you will do it over again. And it gets to a point where it even stops working. And maybe you want to do bribe, maybe you're a permissive parent, you don't want to hurt your child or any of those things. You bribe them, you say, if I promise you this, you do this, What most people feel, they feel like this because once the treat is gone, so is the motivation. Both of them fail for the same reason. They are like two opposite sides of a coin, but they fail for the same reason, which is that they come from the outside. They don't change what is happening inside your child. So what I'm about to show you is very different. And this is how you build the one thing. How you build it from the inside so you never have to reach for the cane or the bribe again. Okay? So everyday parents say, I want my child to be able to study on their own. But the truth is that at this age, it can be very difficult because your child does not have intrinsic motivation yet. Their brain is not wired for it yet. And so you have to engineer it. Yes, as a parent, you're an engineer. You have to engineer the behavior that you want. Children, they have desires. They have things that they want. They have privileges that they enjoy, activities they love, and you can use these things. But the mistake almost every parent makes is one of two things. Either you give them everything they want freely, maybe their phone time, outings, streets, just because they're your kid, or you take everything away as a threat. So you say something like, if you don't study, no phone for a week, no TV until you finish your homework, can't go to the party. That makes everything feel like punishment. The child resents you, and the studying still doesn't get done. And you are constantly fighting battles though, because both approaches, they fail spectacularly. So the right way to use this is to use every privilege your child already enjoys and connecting it to one thing, which is reading effort. Not grades, not outcomes, it's efforts, the ability to try. And so the idea for this is to give them points when they put in effort into studying. And at the end of the week, these points can now be cashed in to unlock predetermined privileges like their phone access, their screen time, their outings, and their treats. These things that they already enjoy now become things that they earn through effort. And so why this is so powerful is that your child is no longer studying because you force them. They are studying because they want their tablet on Saturday. They want their gaming time on the weekend. Right? It's no longer, oh, I'm promising you this. They are now earning those things. And the beautiful part about this is that over time, their brain now starts to associate the act of trying with reward. So they start trying for the sake of trying because effort itself starts to feel good. And that's how you build intrinsic motivation, by engineering it. By engineering it. Now, building this system properly is the most delicate of the three. It takes the most precision. It's so easy to make mistakes. And instead of getting results, you could even destroy everything or raise an entitled child. But if you learn how this works, it will change your parenting. You will finally learn how to run parenting on easy mode. I can assure you that. And so I remember working with this mom of twins, a boy and a girl, both around 9 to 10 years old. You know, when she came to us, her son was very smart but underperforming. He was scoring 70s when, they could do more. Whereas the daughter was very different. She was quieter. She was throwing tantrums whenever it was time to study and refusing to read. Two completely different children, yet the same problem. And both her and her husband had grown up working their way through school. They knew what was at stake, but they couldn't figure out how to break through with their own children. So when she started working with us, we built a proper effort-based reward system for both of them. And what happened next is something I want you to watch carefully, because what she says at the end of this video is one of the most important things I've ever heard a parent say. Let me show you what she says. Let me play her video for you.
My son's challenge is not question of IQ or understanding. It's concentration and avoiding distractions and paying attention to details. And then another challenge is that this thing that he believes he knows, you have a higher impression of yourself than you actually do have. For me, that's a challenge. And he may be scoring his average mark being in 70, but I believe he can push his average mark to 90. Sometime, maybe we'll try and go into mentorship, because we have passed through about that ourselves. Just that ownership, let them own it. I have that sense of responsibility that I need to do this and I must do this. That's what I want us to get to.
This program actually has been an eye-opener for me. I never, for once, thought that my children could teach me. I see the character exhibited towards explanation of what they learned. Dalu normally throws tantrums, but this particular method has forced her to want to listen to the teacher. One big major thing that I saw that really shocked me was the energy with which they jumped to come and tell me, "Mommy, I'm done. The lesson is done. So it's time for me to teach you. It's time for me to teach you." I never forced them to do that. They look forward to, if I say I'm not even ready, if you see the way they will stand in front of me, whatever it is I'm doing, I'll become uncomfortable. So they want me to listen to them. there's a mind reset, there's a mind shift, which has also made me. So there are certain things I see my husband do. I'll just say, this man needs to attend a Chris's session.
Did you catch the last line? He says there's a mind reset, there's a mind shift, which has also made me. There's a mind reset, there's a mind shift, which has also made me. And this is what I really want you to understand. Because when you put the right place, the right time, and the right effort system in place together, when all of them are working together in your home, yes, your child changes. They do. They study, they focus, they start performing. But the bigger thing that nobody warns you about is that you yourself, you change. So you stop being the parent who shouts, you stop being the parent who has to push, you stop being the parent who bribes and threatens. You become calmer, you become more confident, you become more in control without ever raising your voice. And that change in you, it ripples out into every other thing in your home. Because this mom did not just get a daughter who stopped throwing tantrums. She got a daughter who runs to her after school, excited to teach her what she learned. She didn't just get a son who stopped being careless. She got a son who's connected to who he's becoming, and she got herself back. And so, would you like to get the same results for yourself? How would you like this to be your portion as well? How would you like this to be your portion as well? Right? So you can see that we've covered a lot. We've covered a lot. Let me show you what we've covered. I've showed you why your child has been struggling to focus all this while, and it had nothing to do with your child being lazy or stubborn or unintelligent. I showed you 3 things that every focused child has at home that yours does not. The right place, the right time, and the right system. I also showed you why every lesson teacher you've ever paid was fighting a losing battle, because the home environment was always going to win. And I showed you what happens when parents finally get this right? And so tell me, are you glad that you stayed for this whole training? Are you glad? Can you see yourself using what I showed you? Even if all you used was a fraction of what I shared, would you say that this was worth it? Would you say that this was worth it? Great. I love that. So by now you understand it. You understand that focus is a skill and your child can learn it. But let me be honest with you, because it's the part that matters. Because knowing all of this, it changes nothing on its own. Right? You can understand focus perfectly and still watch your child sit there every evening doing nothing, because understanding it and getting your child to actually do it are 2 completely different things. And that second part, the doing is the part no plan, no video, no book can do for you. It takes someone in the room with your child week after week. And so we made a decision, okay? We could have decided, as I've said, oh, let me teach you, let me make a course and show you, or leave you to go on your own and do this. Right? But we've done all of that. And the truth is that sometimes you need someone to hold your hand, which is why we've been able to get all the results that we got. And so we had to sit back and think, what exactly can we do to ensure that you get the results from this program? To ensure that come next month, you will not be complaining about the same thing, about the fact that your child cannot sit down and focus, about all of these things. And that's how we came up with the Tensai Focus Bootcamp. And this summer, this is summer edition, in 30 days, we're going to train your child to sit down, focus, and study on their own. And it starts this August. It's not just them, but you as well. So we're teaching you how to set the structure and also holding your child by hand to move them through so that they can actually get the results that they want to get. And so let me show you exactly what you and your child get piece by piece. The first is 8 live sessions every weekend in August, real sessions with a coach in a small group of just 10 children. The reason it's 10 children is because we want your child to actually pay attention, want to grab them. And so 10, unlike in a school where they have like 20, 25 children, 10 is easier for the coach to see your child, know their name, and work with them directly. 2 times every week, right? And so here are the times, and they are set by age, because a 6-year-old and a 14-year-old don't learn the same way, okay? So if your child is between the ages of 5 to 10, they'll meet Saturday afternoon and Sunday. Right, Saturday from 2 to 3 p.m. and Sundays from 4 to 5 p.m. And if they are a little later, let's say they are from age 10, then you start looking at from 4 to 5 p.m. on Saturday and 6 to 7 p.m. on Sunday. Right? And so all of it is live and is done virtually on Google Meet. So your child joins from the comfort of your home, no traffic, no drop-off, no nothing like that. And now for you, right, because this program cannot work without the structure. And so we coach you every day on exactly how to build the structure. We give you daily activities, a daily focus habit, and a home plan So your child gets a short daily activity Monday to Friday that stretches their focus a little more each day. And you, the parent, you get a clear plan, everyday daily activities that you do, so you're never standing there wondering what to do. Like I said, focus is a skill. And like any skill, we train it daily, right? And it comes with everything around it. Every session is recorded. So if your child misses a day, a family thing comes up, or so they don't fall behind, they can watch the replay. And you're also in a private community with other parents and other coaches. So you're never doing this alone. We plan to hold your hand through it all. Okay? And so what does 30 days actually look like? In week 1, we are talking about the showing up and learning to sit. We're training that. And in week 2, we start engineering the try phase before they quit. And then in week 3, it's about the ownership. And then in week 4, they start running it on their own. Same child you started with. Just 1 month, you can be sure of a complete transformation. And so let me say something, because it's the summer and everybody, you know what is happening in your WhatsApp groups, right? Everybody's signing their child up for something. Coding, robotics, tech camp, movie studio. And that is all good. I love it. Swimming. But here's the truth nobody's telling you. If your child cannot sit still and focus, none of it sticks, right? And you paid a lot of money for these things. So we're not there to teach your child English and maths and all of those. We're teaching them the skill that makes it all important. So focus comes first, because everything else is built on top of it. So before you spend this summer on the shiny things, you have to fix the one thing that makes every one of them actually work. All right? And so that's exactly why we're doing this now, to equip your child so that even before they get back to school, they are changed and they can give you better results in the next class. Right? And so let's talk about what this actually costs. You see, when a family wants one-on-one private, just the child and the coach, they pay 300,000 naira, and there's a waiting list for that. Right? However, like I said in the beginning, I said we created this because we wanted more people to have access. And that's how we came up close to this. So you're not paying anything close to that. The bootcamp is just 35,000 naira per child. And if you have 2 children, you pay 60,000 naira, right? Instead of 70. And if you have 3 children, you just add an extra 30,000, so 90, 120, right? And it is the same training, same coaches. The only difference is your child is in a small group, right? That is it. And you get it for just 10%. You get it for like 10% of what it would cost if you were paying 300, because or almost 10%, right? So here's exactly what you should do right now. Go to the link in the chat right now. Secure your child's spot. It takes under a minute. Then send us your receipt. Once you do that, it will confirm and send us a receipt, and then your child is in. So go ahead right now and secure your child's spot. Okay? And go ahead right now, secure your child's spot. When you join, there's also some free bonuses for you, which is number 1, a personalized focus assessment. So before they even start, we want to map their attention span. We want to know what distracts them, where the real struggle is. So the coach knows exactly how to help them from day 1. And then the focus that kit as well, so that they hit the ground running from the very first day. Before we even start, we'll give you guys this so that you can have access to them. Now, and I am putting the risk on us, not you. So my guarantee is very simple. Let your child show up and do the work. You yourself, ensure you show up, participate in the challenge, and make sure that everything we say you should do, that you do them. And if you don't see a real shift in their focus level in 30 days, we're going to upgrade you to a one-on-one session that typically costs 300,000, and you get it access for free so that we can make sure that you get that result. And so if they do the work, of course they win. Or we make it right. It is that simple. And so if you are thinking, I'm not sure I can afford it, let me put it into perspective for you. 35,000 naira is less than 1 month of lesson teacher fees. It is less than 1 weekend of outing. It is less than a set of uniforms that you will pay next term. So the real question is not whether you can afford it. It is the other thing, which is what is it costing you every single term that your child is not performing well, and you have to keep shouting about the same thing, right? Or maybe you are thinking, I'm just too busy. Well, the good news is that all you need to do is just to do a daily activity, right? You just set the structure once, and the structure is there. You just maintain. Right? The real work is when we work with your child, because we teach them the skills, right? You teach them the skills. And even if your child cannot meet up to the time, the sessions are recorded so they can catch up. And your part at home is just a few minutes, less than 20 minutes a day. That is it. Okay? And you could be saying, oh, my child is different and all of that. I hear that one a lot. And let me tell you something, in over 100 children, we've never met the one that this did not work for. Difficult children, strong-willed children, quiet, loud. We have seen them all. And your child is not the exception. They just have not met the right coaching yet. And so you have to get in. Click on the link right now. Click on the link right now. And the part I love is that the moment you join, actually even gets better, because your child has an opportunity to win a full scholarship to a School of Geniuses. And you also get a chance to be upgraded one-on-one coaching as well. And there are also a few more surprises I'll show you once you are inside. However, I have to be honest. There are only about 20. I think before now we've launched it to our audience, and we have most of the slots are already gone. Right? Most of the slots are already gone. The summer edition, and the parents are all smiling. They want to get in very fast. Right? So currently, we have over 20,000 people following us who have seen this and who will continue to see it. And so the spots are extremely limited. And remember, each group is only 10 children. Once a group closes, it has closed. And the bootcamp starts on the 8th of August. So this summer, give your child the one thing that makes everything else matter. Once the spots are gone, they are gone. They are gone. So go right now. Just click on the link below. You will see, you put in your name, put in your child's name. If you have more than one child, you can put it there. And once you do, you'll see the price. You make payment. It takes you, and you send the receipt to us, and you give you access. It's that simple. Okay, and I'm seeing a lot of payments right now coming. I know that a lot of you have started joining. That's amazing. The 20 spots are even about to get finished. So do not let it finish. Get in right now. Get in right now. Get in right now. I mean, you've done everything. This is an opportunity for you. And so for those of you joining, welcome to the family. Thank you for being here and for backing your child. And if you're still deciding, I'm going to end this training right now, but I'm still going to keep showing you more testimonials of other parents like you, so that you can actually see for yourself what the results are and what you are denying yourself of if you keep procrastinating or if you keep waiting. So go right now before the spots are gone, and I'll see you on the inside.
My husband, her father, sometime, to be sincere, for the first time, he didn't even, as the way he saw her results, he didn't even make any noise. I think he's more of like the disappointment. He didn't say a word. He just kept quiet, and he just stood up. I have tried my best. I don't know what to do again. I mean, because they'll be like, oh, why are you not doing this? And the next thing she says, I don't care. Good enough, she understands. Then after a while, it disappears. I just have a positive mindset that I shouldn't just give up on my daughter. It's not too late. She's still growing. So I'll try my best to see how far I can go. I'm still alive, and I still need to help her. So I can't just leave her like that. Like, she wrote a letter to herself. She said, Amina, you have grown. You are getting better. I like the work you're doing. Keep it up. Go, girl. Generally, she has actually grown out of that self-doubt. Yes. So for her to have written that, I didn't tell her anything. So for her to have written that, and she has, I can